So we're going to take a look at our daily language review. And like I said, we're going to start with the Monday page because first page of that week, even though today isn't Monday, we're going to do this page together. That way we can kind of see what the questions are asking us and how. Got the same 5 boxes, but different questions. First box, and let me zoom. Place a check mark by the sentences with correct subject and verb agreement. Okay, so subject and verb agreement. When we're talking about writing and we say subject and verb agreement, we don't mean that the subject and the verb both kind of go like, oh, chocolate ice cream's the best, and the other one goes, yeah, you're right, it's the best. Not that kind of agreement. When we say subject and verb agreement, what it means is more like you're saying that the subject and the verb match. The way you know if they match is if both your subject and your verb are singular or plural. Who can remind me, what's the difference between singular and plural? What do those words mean? Haley, what does singular and plural mean?
A word that is single, or a word that is, wait, am I saying world?
It kind of sounded like that last time.
Uh,
It's all right. So you said,
and then a word with 2 words, I'm
okay,
guessing.
that's not a
No.
bad way to explain it. So singular, plural. Singular means that there's only one of them. Plural means that there's more than one. And you said two, but it doesn't necessarily always mean two. It just means anything more than one. So it could be two, it could be three, it could be four. So I have a water bottle, right? Just one. So that's singular. But if I'm talking about pens, I have plural. There's more than one pen. And again, that could mean just two of them. That could mean 10, 15, 500. Anything more than one. So with subject and verb agreement, if the subject is singular, if there's just one, then the verb also has to be singular. If the subject is plural, then the verb also has to be plural. And usually the way you can tell is if you take a look at the S's. If the subject has an S, the verb should not. And if the subject does not have an S at the end, then the verb should. And that works with most things unless we're dealing with certain verbs that don't just have an S if they're. So let's look at these. The good thing about subject verb agreement is usually you can hear the difference. Hear just by listening you can tell which one matches and which one. We'll look at sentence 1. Chloe and David both own Polly doll. What is our subject here? Who can tell me? What is the subject for sentence 1? Who or what is that sentence talking about? Chloe and David both own collie dogs. Saya, what is our subject?
Dogs?
Not dogs. I know it talks the dogs do show up in the sentence, but what about the dogs did they tell us, Messiah?
Chloe and David own the collie dogs.
So our subject is Chloe and David. We have two people. That's a plural subject. Chloe and David both, and they even give us a reminder, both, we know that it's a plural subject, own collie dog. Notice I don't have an S at the end. I don't have own. This has subject and verb agreement. Chloe and David is plural. Own is plural. I know that own is plural because I don't have an S here at the end. If I see an S at the end of my verb, you could think of it like it's saying that it's singular. Both of these are plural. Put a check mark for number 1. That one matches. Now sentence 2. Haley owns a terrier. What is my subject there? What is my subject for sentence 2? Haley owns a terrier. Kylie, what's my subject?
Haley.
Okay, Haley. How many Haleys are there, Kylie? Is there one Haley or is there like 5?
One.
There's just one, so it's singular. One subject. Here's my verb, owns. And if I look at the end, I see an S. So that's a singular verb. Singular subject, singular verb, they match. So this has subject-verb agreement. Check sentence 3. Aubrey and Diego owns a schnauzer. Aubrey and Diego owns a schnauzer.
What's that?
A schnauzer is a kind of dog. So these are all different kinds of dogs. Collie dogs, terriers, schnauzers.
Okay.
Who can tell me? What's the subject for sentence 3? What's the subject for sentence 3? What do you think, Bella? What's my subject for sentence 3?
Haley. Aubrey and Diego.
Perfect. Aubrey and Diego. So Bella, is there one subject or is there more than one?
More than one.
More than one. So we're dealing with a plural subject here. 2 people. Owns is my verb. And if I look at the end of owns, I see an S. That means that this verb is singular. If I have a plural subject, I can't have a single verb. That means this one does not check mark. They don't agree, don't match. I have one that's singular and one that's plural. I need to have them both matching. Okay? Sentence 4. Pablo own a dog. Pablo own a dog. What's the subject for sentence 4? Pablo own a dog. Kylie, what's my subject for sentence 4?
Pablo.
Pablo. How many Pablos are there? One Pablo, more than one Pablo?
One.
Just one Pablo. So it's singular. My verb is own. If I look at the end of own, I'm not seeing. That means this is plural. If I have a singular subject, I can't have a plural. Have either singular, or plural. This one also check mark. I can't have one of each kind. They need to match. So when they ask us about subject-verb agreement, that's all they're asking us. If one is plural, is the other plural? Or if one is singular, is the other singular? Not, they don't agree, don't match. Have to change one of them. But here, all they want us to do is put check marks if they agree. Sentence 1 and 2 did agree. They have matching plural and plural, singular, singular. 3 and 4 don't match. Add one of you. Okay, next one. Circle the prefixes. Write what that word means. Okay, quick show of hands. Who has ever heard of the word prefix? If you just heard about it. Okay, some hands. Good. All right, now I want you to raise your hand if you think you prefix is. Remember what the prefix is. Bailey.
The understanding of what a word is.
A prefix definitely helps you to understand it, but prefix does not just mean the understanding of what the word is. A prefix helps to, well, it helps you understand the meaning of the word if you know your prefix. And it can help to change the meaning of a word. So a prefix even has a prefix in it. Prefix is a short part of a word that's always at the beginning. Okay? Prefixes are always at the beginning of a word. And a prefix affects the meaning of that word. And I'll use this first one as an example. Okay? Grab a circle because they want us to circle the prefix. Okay, the first word is unwanted. The prefix in this word is un, un. So prefixes are not words on their own. If they were on their own, they would make no sense. Sounds. But when I add the prefix un in front of this word, I change the meaning of that word. When I add the prefix un, what I mean is not. When I use the prefix un, I mean not. So if I put the prefix un in front of the word wanted, what I'm saying is whatever I'm talking about is not wanted. So if I said something was unwanted, like if I went to go get a hamburger, and let's say that I didn't want onions on there, and then I open up my hamburger and there's onions on there, I might say that the onions were unwanted. It means I didn't want them. So normally if you say that you wanted something, you mean that you want it, like give it to me. I like that. But when I add the prefix, it changes. It means that I did not want it. Okay? The next one has the same prefix, the next word. The exact same prefix, the prefix un. This time they pair it with the word hurt. So who thinks they can tell me what would that mean if I pair the prefix un with the word hurt? Haley? What would it mean if I paired my prefix un with the word hurt?
Did you call me?
No, Kaylee had her hand up, so I called Kaylee.
Kaylin and Bailey sound the same sometimes, so
They do.
yeah, we've been doing that problem since kindergarten.
Is your microphone fighting with you, Kaylee? Haley's trying to get hers to work, but who thinks they can tell me? Unhurt. What would it mean? Nakai?
Not hurt.
Not hurt. You might use unhurt if you were like outside riding your bike or riding a skateboard and you fell down, but when you get up, you didn't have a scrape or a cut, you didn't break anything. So even if the fall looked like, oh man, that was a really bad fall, get up and maybe all you have is some dust on your pants. So you would be hurt or not hurt. The next word uses a different prefix. The word is non-fat. Who thinks they can find the prefix for non-fat? What do you think the prefix is in that word? Zaya, what do you think? What's the prefix?
Non.
It's non. I'm going to take my circle, bring it over here. Non. Now, the good part about finding prefixes is number one, you know they're always at the beginning. But number two, if you see part of the word that you recognize, like wanted or hurt or fat, then you know that that first part, whatever is left, is your prefix. Prefixes usually aren't super long. So like we see here, 2 letters or 3 letters. There might be some that are a little longer, but usually 2 or 3 letters is a good guess for a prefix. So non-fat. The prefix non has pretty similar meaning to the prefix un. Non-fat, or the prefix non, means no. So in this case, when you say something is non-fat, you're saying that it has no fat. Or usually they'll mean very little fat. So when you see like at the grocery store and they have all the different jugs of milk, some of them just say whole milk and some of them say non-fat. They're saying that that's milk without the fat. So here, no. All right. Next word, nonsense. Who knows what the prefix is there? Kylie, what's the prefix in nonsense?
No sense.
What's the prefix?
Oh, no. Non.
Non. But thank you for all the other information. That was what I was going to ask next. So our prefix again is non, and you're right. When I put it together, it means no sense. So when you say that something is nonsense, you're saying that whatever it is makes no sense. And people usually do it when, or use this word when people are like playing around or they're just being silly. They'll call it nonsense. They're saying that whatever it is you're doing or whatever it is you're saying, it makes no sense. No reason for you to be saying that or doing. Out. So our sentence. Okay. This week we go back to them giving us a sentence and we have to find all of our mistakes. So here's our sentence. Does Madeline and Ella have a black and white puppy? Does Madeline and Ella have a black and white puppy? Who can find one mistake? Bailey, what's one mistake?
You have to capitalize does.
Okay, you have to capitalize does. Why?
Because it's the beginning of a sentence.
It's the beginning of the sentence. You absolutely need to capitalize. Okay? What's another mistake? Brianna.
Capitalize Madeline
Capitalize Madeline. Why?
because it's lowercase and it needs to be capitalized because it's a name.
It's a name, somebody's name, so it needs to be capitalized. All right, we can find another one. Jaylene. Jaylene, what's another mistake they made?
Um, put a question mark
Where?
at the end of the sentence
Okay, and why do we need a question mark?
because they're asking a question.
They're asking something. They're not telling us anything. So we need a question mark. Very good. Okay, anything else? Kylie? Another mistake.
Capitalize Ella
Capitalize Ella. Why?
because it's a name.
It's a name too. We can't capitalize Madeline and then leave Ella lowercase.
No matter where they're in the sentence, they're
Capital
always capitalized.
does capital Madeline and capital Ella have have a black and white puppy and question mark. Alexa.
You know how we just did the one that's the prefixes one?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. What? Can you say just again, just a little bit louder?
You know how we just did the prefixes?
Mm-hmm.
On mine, on unwanted, it says preschool and different words.
I'll check yours right now and I'll see what's going on. Okay, but thank you for
Okay.
letting me know.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
you know what? Before we move on from the sentence, sorry, they almost got a mistake past me. There's one last mistake. One last thing we have to fix. This sentence is almost perfect. There's one thing that we need to fix. One thing that isn't quite right yet. Does Madeline and Ella have a black and white puppy? One last mistake that we want to fix before that sentence is perfect, is the way that we want it. This one is a sneaky one, so I'll give you guys a little hint. The mistake is in the the mistake is in the beginning of our sentence. Mistake's not at the end. The end we have fine. But there's something wrong with that beginning. Does Madeline and Ella have a black and white puppy? Chase, what do you think? Does is wrong. What do you think we should do with the word does, Chase? How could we fix it? Absolutely perfect. I would use the word does if it was one person. If it said, does Madeline have a black and white puppy? Or does Ella have a black and white puppy? But since I have a plural subject, since two of them, I don't want to use does. I would use do. Do Madeline and Ella have a black and white puppy? Question mark. Awesome. I can't believe they almost got me with that one. I obviously need to get more sleep. Or drink more coffee. I don't know. One of the two. Oh, not too far. Click on Monday page. Okay, we talked about this before. We're going to take these verbs, we're going to make them past tense. Now remember, sometimes we can just add an ed at the end of verbs, but some verbs don't work that way. Some verbs are what we call irregular. That means that when they become past tense, they're going to change more than just having an ed at the end. Who can tell me, for the verb eat, if it was something in the past, something you already did, what word should we use? Messiah?
Ate.
Okay, can you spell it for me?
ATE.
Perfect. ATE. So it's not eated, it's ate. What about fall? Who can tell me? Fall. What would it be if it was past tense? Jada, what would it be if it was past tense?
L.
Fell. Perfect. Can you spell it for me, Jada?
FELL.
Awesome. FELL. Okay. This one I think is kind of tricky. Let's see. Freeze. Who can tell me the word freeze? If it's past tense, what does it become? Alexa?
Froze.
Froze. Can you spell it for me?
FROZE.
Perfect. So it becomes frozen past tense. It makes me always think of that guy from The Incredibles, the one with the ice power. What about give? When give becomes past tense. Bella, what does give become when it's past tense?
Gave.
Gave, can you spell it?
GAVE.
Awesome. Gave. GA. So all of these were some of those irregular verbs, the ones that change and become something different past tense. Okay. And last one for today anyway. They give us a sentence and they want us to tell them if there's a mistake or no mistake. The sentence says, does Gabriel and Sophie have time to walk the dog? A, let's change have to has. They want this word to become has. Yes, Heidi.
I know the answer.
Okay, hang on to that for now, okay? Because we're going to read the answer choices first. Okay. B, change the question mark to a period. Okay, so they think that this question mark shouldn't be there, that they're not asking us anything, that it should just be a period. C says change does to do. They think that instead of does at the beginning of our sentence, we need to use the word do. D says to make no change. Nothing wrong with it. Now, Heidi, you said you thought you knew the answer. So what do you think is the correct one? A, B, C, or D?
C.
Okay, and why do you think C is the correct answer choice?
Because there's two people, not one person.
Perfect. So just like our sentence that we were fixing earlier. Since they're talking about two people, Gabriel and Sophie, we need to change from does to do. It should be, do Gabriel and Sophie have time to walk the dog? Okay, and I'll leave this all here for you, so that way anyone that needs to fix any of their answers or anything like that can go ahead and do that, and we can all match.